On this day in history, we remember the remarkable individuals who shaped our world. Welcome to Who Died Today in History, where we honor their legacies. From artists to leaders, their impact lives on. If you find their stories meaningful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay connected. Katharine Hepburn, one of the most revered figures in American cinema, passed away peacefully on June 29, 2003, at the age of 96. Her death was from natural causes, attributed to old age and declining health in her final years. She died at her family home in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, a fittingly private and quiet exit for a woman who, though famous, fiercely guarded her independence. Hepburn's passing marked the end of an era in Hollywood history. She had become synonymous with strength, intelligence, and unorthodox femininity in a time when actresses were often expected to conform to narrow standards. Her death did not shift the course of history as dramatically as a political assassination might, but it sent waves through cultural circles, signaling the fading of a golden generation of stars who helped shape the identity of American film in the 20th century. Hepburn's life and death reflected values that defined her era and challenged them. Living through two world wars, the Great Depression, the rise of feminism, and the evolution of Hollywood, she remained unshaken in her commitment to individuality. She rejected the studio system's control over personal image, famously wearing trousers in public long before it was socially acceptable. Her decision never to marry or have children became a statement of self-ownership, as did her long-term, unconventional relationship with actor Spencer Tracy. When she died, public tributes poured in not only from the film industry, but also from figures in politics, literature, and everyday fans. Her death inspired retrospectives, re-airings of her classic films, and discussions about the nature of strong female characters in media. In many ways, it revived interest in her legacy, prompting new generations to discover her work and values. The way we remember Katharine Hepburn reflects a broader human tendency to mythologize those who lived authentically and fearlessly. She is commemorated through her films, such as The African Queen, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and The Philadelphia Story, and through continued cultural conversation about women's autonomy and aging in the spotlight. Her name is often invoked as a symbol of resilience and grace. Hepburn's death underscores how mortality does not diminish greatness, it distills it. Through art, story, and admiration, we preserve her memory, not merely as a screen legend, but as a woman who redefined what it meant to live on one's own terms. Lana Turner, one of Hollywood's most iconic screen sirens, died on June 29, 1995 at the age of 74 after a prolonged battle with throat cancer. Her death was natural, yet emblematic of the changing values of an industry and a society that had once elevated beauty and glamour to untouchable heights. Turner's passing marked more than just the loss of a film legend. It was a closing chapter on an era of old Hollywood opulence and scandal. Turner rose to fame in the late 1930s and 1940s, becoming a symbol of both allure and resilience during World War II, when American audiences sought escape through film. Her screen presence was magnetic, but it was her tumultuous personal life, particularly the 1958 killing of her gangster boyfriend Johnny Stompanato by her daughter Cheryl, that blurred the lines between celebrity and tragedy. Though ruled a justifiable homicide, the event etched Turner permanently into the public consciousness as a figure of controversy and survival. Her death in the mid-1990s occurred during a period when the entertainment industry was undergoing a major cultural transformation. The rise of independent cinema, the decline of the studio system, and increasing transparency about celebrity lives marked a departure from the carefully managed images of stars like Turner. In many ways, her death symbolized the fading of the studio-crafted star and the emergence of more complex, less polished public figures. In the immediate aftermath of her death, Tributes focused not only on her screen achievements, from The Postman Always Rings Twice to Peyton Place, but also on her endurance through public scrutiny and private heartbreak. While her career was at times overshadowed by scandal, her ability to persevere and continually reinvent herself added a deeper dimension to her legacy. Turner's death invites reflection on the fragility of fame and the cost of beauty in a world quick to idolize and equally quick to judge. As with many stars of her era, she is immortalized through film, but also through the complex narratives told about her life, stories that continue to evolve as society reassesses women's roles in Hollywood and beyond. Ultimately, Lana Turner's legacy is one of glamour shaped by struggle, a reminder that behind every legend lies a deeply human story. Through biographies, retrospectives, and the films she left behind, we continue to remember not only her allure, but the price she paid for it. Jayne Mansfield, one of the most sensational and controversial figures of 1950s Hollywood, died tragically in a violent car accident on June 29, 1967, at the age of 34. Her death was as dramatic as her life, a sudden and brutal collision that ended the trajectory of a woman whose fame embodied the era's complex relationship with sexuality, celebrity, and spectacle. In the early hours of that morning, Mansfield was traveling with her children and boyfriend on U.S. Route 90 near New Orleans. Their car slammed into the back of a truck that had slowed behind a mosquito fogger, resulting in instant death for Mansfield, her driver, and her companion in the front seat. Miraculously, her 3 children in the back, including future actor Mariska Hargitay, survived. The crash was so gruesome that it sparked widespread rumors and tabloid myths, most infamously the false belief that Mansfield was decapitated. This led directly to the federal implementation of underride guards, known as Mansfield bars, on the backs of trucks to prevent similar tragedies. Mansfield's death reflected both the allure and danger of mid-century American celebrity. She was often considered a blonde bombshell in the mold of Marilyn Monroe. Indeed, the two were frequently compared. But while Monroe exuded vulnerability, Mansfield was bold, campy, and unabashedly self-promotional. She blurred the line between satire and sincerity, using her sexuality to both attract attention and critique the industry that typecast her. The immediate aftermath of her death was a media frenzy, but as time passed, the tragedy became a lens through which to view America's obsession with fame and image. Her death didn't so much shift history as freeze her in a kind of cultural amber, forever youthful, scandalous, and tragic. She became a cautionary tale of fame's fleeting nature and a symbol of how quickly the spotlight can turn fatal. Mansfield's legacy endures in ways that reveal our collective need to mythologize those who burn brightly and die young. Through documentaries, biographies, and continued fascination with her persona, Jayne Mansfield remains more than a footnote in Hollywood history. Her story illustrates how society processes mortality by transforming lives and deaths into enduring symbols, reflecting both the glamour and the price of fame. Carl Reiner, one of the most enduring figures in American comedy, died of natural causes on June 29, 2020, at the age of 98. Surrounded by family at his home in Beverly Hills, Reiner's passing was serene, a quiet end to a life that had resounded with laughter for generations. His death, while not shocking, marked the fading of an era defined by sharp wit, clever writing, and a kind of earnest entertainment that once dominated American television and film. Reiner's career spanned more than 7 decades, beginning in the golden age of television. He first gained recognition as part of Sid Caesar's Your Show of Shows in the 1950s, then went on to create The Dick Van Dyke Show, a pioneering sitcom that married intellectual humor with warm domesticity. In later decades, he partnered with Mel Brooks for the iconic 2,000-Year-Old Man sketches and appeared in films well into his 90s, including the Ocean's 11 series. Reiner's longevity in the public eye and relevance across multiple generations made him a bridge between the past and present of American entertainment. The timing of Reiner's death in the midst of a global pandemic and a period of political and cultural upheaval was symbolically poignant. His comedic sensibility, often gentle, inclusive, and focused on human connection, stood in stark contrast to the division and tension that defined the world in 2020. His death reminded many of a time when humor was used to unite, not polarize, and to reflect on shared human experiences rather than deepen divides. The immediate consequences of Reiner's passing were heartfelt tributes from fellow comedians, actors, and fans worldwide. His son, director Rob Reiner, called him his guiding light, and Mel Brooks noted the loss of a comedy giant. These outpourings of grief underscored the respect and admiration Reiner had quietly accumulated throughout his life. Carl Reiner's death does not mark a dramatic rupture in history, but it does represent the closing of a cultural chapter, an era when entertainment was crafted with care, intelligence, and heart. We remember him through reruns, interviews, memoirs, and the echoes of his influence in every sitcom that followed. His legacy reveals humanity's yearning not just for laughter, but for meaning in that laughter. A reminder that comedy, too, is a profound way we cope with mortality and commemorate life. Arkin, the versatile actor whose career spanned over 6 decades, died peacefully of natural causes on June 29, 2023, at the age of 89. His passing marked the loss of a profoundly respected figure in American cinema and theater. A man whose dry wit, emotional range, and unassuming presence made him both an audience favorite and a peerless craftsman among fellow actors. Arkin's death came in an era increasingly defined by fast fame and digital celebrity. In contrast, his career was a testament to sustained excellence and thoughtful performance. From his early days with Chicago's Second City improvisational troupe to his Oscar-winning role in Little Miss Sunshine, Arkin embodied an artistic ethos rooted in depth rather than spectacle. His roles often reflected the everyman's struggle, whether in satire, drama, or understated comedy. His characters were believable and human, reflecting the post-war American sensibility, one that valued quiet perseverance over glamour. The immediate consequence of Arkin's passing was an outpouring of tributes across the entertainment industry. Colleagues praised not only his extraordinary talent, but also his humility and mentorship. His death did not disrupt the trajectory of global events, but it resonated deeply within the arts, a reminder of a vanishing generation of actors who valued craft over celebrity. His absence also symbolized a cultural shift, as more theatrical, method-based traditions give way to algorithm-driven entertainment models. What makes Arkin's legacy particularly resonant is how his death underscored the enduring power of nuanced storytelling. Unlike the violent or politically charged deaths of historical figures such as Lincoln or Cleopatra, Arkin's gentle departure did not shock the world, but it quietly emphasized the value of subtlety, kindness, and sincerity in an often chaotic media landscape. Arkin's memory is now preserved through a rich archive of performances, interviews, and writings. His characters continue to live on, not as icons, but as authentic reflections of real life. In this way, we see how humanity chooses to honor not just the bold and the tragic, but also those who offered insight through empathy and wit. Ultimately, Alan Arkin's passing reminds us that mortality does not always need to be grandiose to be meaningful. We immortalize figures like him not through monuments or martyrdom, but through the lasting impact of honest storytelling, our most human response to time, loss, and memory. Doug Sheehan, best known for his roles on soap operas such as General Hospital and primetime dramas like Knots Landing, passed away from natural causes on June 29, 2024, at the age of 75. His death, while not sudden or scandalous, served as a quiet reminder of the fading golden age of daytime and network television, a period when serialized storytelling was a staple of American living rooms. Sheehan rose to prominence during an era when the television landscape was rapidly evolving. In the late 1970s and 1980s, soap operas held a cultural grip over audiences, particularly homemakers and retirees, offering daily doses of drama, romance, and intrigue. As Joe Kelly on General Hospital, Sheehan was part of a genre that reflected both the escapist desires and emotional complexities of viewers during a period marked by political uncertainty, economic shifts, and a changing American family dynamic. His later work on Knots Landing placed him in the primetime spotlight, where he portrayed characters whose moral ambiguities and personal dilemmas mirrored the socio-political nuances of the 1980s, an age defined by both materialism and introspection. Though Sheehan was never a tabloid fixture or larger-than-life celebrity, his consistent presence on television shaped the daily narratives of countless viewers. The immediate response to Sheehan's passing was modest, but heartfelt. Fans and former co-stars paid tribute to his professionalism, warmth, and contribution to an art form that has since been overshadowed by streaming giants and fast-paced digital content. His death did not shift history, but it did punctuate the slow departure of an era defined by serialized character development, slow-burn plots, and the communal experience of watching TV in real time. Doug Sheehan's legacy reminds us that not all impactful deaths are loud or world-altering. His career and quiet passing reflect a broader truth about mortality. That memory often lives not in headlines, but in the subtle, personal ways a person touched others' lives. We commemorate figures like Sheehan through reruns, retrospectives, and the fond nostalgia that surfaces when we revisit the media that shaped us. Ultimately, his departure underscores our enduring human need to tell stories, to connect through shared emotion, and to honor those who helped build the worlds we once escaped into, day after day, episode after episode. Stuart Damon, best known for his iconic portrayal of Dr. Alan Quatermain on the long-running soap opera General Hospital, passed away on June 29, 2021, at the age of 84 after a prolonged battle with renal failure. His death was peaceful, the result of natural causes, yet its emotional impact rippled through the television industry and the devoted fan base that had followed his career for decades. Damon's death symbolized more than the passing of an individual. It represented the fading light of a golden age in daytime television. His work on General Hospital, spanning over 30 years, was emblematic of a time when soap operas were not just entertainment, but a cultural cornerstone, mirroring societal issues like addiction, family conflict, and professional integrity in serialized form. Dr. Quatermain was both flawed and compassionate, a character that mirrored the complexities of the late 20th century American family and the evolving medical ethics of the time. The immediate aftermath of Damon's passing brought an outpouring of tributes from co-stars, fans, and media outlets. ABC and the General Hospital team honored him on air and across social platforms, highlighting how deeply he was woven into the show's identity. His absence was not just felt in cast lists, but in the emotional continuity of a show built on generational storytelling. His death didn't shift the course of history, but it underlined the quiet influence of long-form television on public consciousness and emotional education. Damon's legacy was also shaped by his earlier career as Prince Charming in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, 1965, where he brought fairy tale warmth into American households. These contrasting roles, romantic hero and complex patriarch, reflected the changing ideals of masculinity over time, from chivalrous dreamers to emotionally layered professionals. The death of Stuart Damon reminds us that cultural impact is not measured solely in global headlines, but in the lasting emotional footprints left in our lives. We immortalize figures like Damon through syndication, tribute episodes, fan conventions, and the nostalgia that arises when his characters return to screen through reruns. In a broader sense, Damon's passing illustrates humanity's relationship with memory and mortality. We grieve not only the loss of a performer, but the passage of a shared cultural experience. Through art and television, his presence endures, reaffirming the power of storytelling in preserving identity, emotion, and legacy. Rosemary Clooney, one of America's most beloved vocalists of the 20th century, died on June 29, 2002, at the age of 74. Her death, the result of complications from lung cancer, marked the end of an era in popular music, a time when voices, not visuals, defined stardom. Clooney's passing was natural, yet it carried with it the weight of a bygone age in entertainment, one characterized by elegance, resilience, and emotional depth. Born in the wake of the Great Depression and rising to fame during the post-World War II boom, Clooney's voice became a symbol of both post-war optimism and deeply felt personal expression. Songs like "Come On to My House" and "Hey There" captured the mood of an America hungry for joy and simplicity. Her warm, unpretentious style contrasted sharply with the changing tides of music in the 1960s and 70s, as rock and counterculture movements redefined the industry. Clooney's later years were marked by a public battle with mental health and addiction, challenges rarely discussed openly in her heyday. She experienced a resurgence in the 1980s, fueled by collaborations with jazz legends and a renewed appreciation for traditional pop standards. Her death then was not simply the loss of a singer, but of a survivor, someone who bore the weight of fame, personal turmoil, and changing industry dynamics with grace. The immediate response to her passing was reverent. Tributes poured in not only from the music world, but from fans who had grown up with her songs as the soundtrack of their lives. Her nephew, George Clooney, helped carry her legacy forward, further immortalizing the Clooney name in American cultural memory. Clooney's story illustrates the evolving relationship between celebrity and vulnerability. Her struggles and comeback humanized her, making her death a moment of both sorrow and celebration. In a time when public figures were often shielded behind polished personas, her candor about mental illness and recovery was pioneering. We remember Rosemary Clooney not just through her recordings, but through documentaries, biographies, and tribute performances that continue to echo her influence. Her legacy speaks to the timeless human desire to connect, voice to heart, song to soul. In commemorating her, we affirm the enduring power of art to carry us through eras of change, sorrow, and joy.